Being estranged from your family is fun because then you just wake up and you're like, oh, hi, it's Mother's Day. Shout out to the people that give a shit. I don't. I actually forgot that was happening. I don't care about Mother's Day so much that the only time it's ever actually mentioned in my life is on April Fool's Day. Because I like to post on all my social media, Happy Mother's Day! Shout out to my mother! I hope you all remember today to get your mom a gift and to tell her, like, Happy Mother's Day today. And I like to send that message because it scares like, imagine you wake up on a random day and someone thinks that it's Mother's Day and they're like, oh shit, I didn't buy her a gift. And then they text their mom Happy Mother's Day. Whole time it's not Mother's Day remotely, and I gave a bunch of people heart attacks for no reason. Anyway, speaking of my mother, ew. She was a confusing lady in a lot of ways. I just remembered this. When I was younger, we had this next door neighbor named Crystal. She was a nice enough lady, good heart, kind of, sort of, depends on, mostly. I never had a bad experience with her, I'll say it like that. But she was friends with my mother, so how good of a woman could she have been? But she still was nice, and when I got attacked by my mom, she still donated to my GoFundMe to make sure I was safe. So thank you, Crystal. But what happened was, I guess when I was younger, like, Crystal was gonna go do some sort of kite festival or whatever, and they were like, hey, I'll take Tamia if she wants to go. And I thought, yeah, that sounds cool. And I had a kite that I didn't know how to set up, and none of the adults in my life knew how to set it up either, but we were like, hey, sure, let's take her. But what they stupidly decided was to wake me up at, like, crack of dawn. Like, what, 6 a.m.? For a child, 6 a.m. is like, bitch, you should have, that's like waking up a kid at 1 a.m. Like, what the fuck are you doing? And it was cold as shit, and I got dressed and ready, and my mom was already in a bad mood that day. And I remember that I went out, me and Crystal, we sat in this, like, wet, grassy area as people tried to put kites in the air. Some of them were nice and cool, but some of them were struggling. And it was honestly a dead festival. Like, there were people up there, and some kites were being flown, but it's like she woke me up so early that none of the fun, actual festivities even started. I don't see why they just didn't go, we should wake her, like, why not take me there when it's actually, like, kicking off, like the fun time, like noon or 3 p.m., acceptable times. And we sat there for like a few hours or so, and it was just ridiculously cold. I was shivering, it was boring, and Crystal didn't know how to talk to me, and I didn't know how to talk to her. But it's even worse, it's like, as an adult, you can just ask kids anything, they'll tell you anything, they're very honest people. But, she didn't make an effort, so it was just a lot of sitting in silence on a foggy day on some wet grass and watching, like, 6 people fly kites, because, like, not much was going on. And time passed, and it was just so fucking slow and boring. And they hyped it up to be this big, exciting thing. They should have not taken me so early, and they should have checked the weather. But I wasn't mad at Crystal, I just was like, okay. Frankly, I'll put it this way. If I were an adult in that situation, I would have checked the weather. I would have, like, talked to me. No, one, I'm a kid. Talk to the kid. Bond with the kid. Or two, at least give me a Mountain Dew. Or, like, I don't know, a hot chocolate that secretly has a little bit of Starbucks jar Frappuccino poured in, so that I can be like, I feel happy and energized for some reason. I don't know, give me pre-workout. I know you're like, to me, that's bad parenting. You would have given a 8-year-old you a heart attack. I mean, maybe. It would have been fun, though. Just give me a very diluted one. I'm just saying. Like, I'm just saying. It's like, they already gave me a shot of vodka when I was like, what, 6, 4, something like that. They should have just, like, been like, Tamia deserves a coffee this morning. Make it extra sweet. She won't tell the difference. But whatever. And then I remember this specific moment happened where Crystal, I guess she had an idea because she felt bad. She was like, hey, Tamia, I know you really want to see that movie G-Force. You want me to take you to see you today? And I said, oh, no, it's okay, but thank you. And, Crystal could have asked why, but she didn't. She was like, oh, okay. And she just assumed I didn't want to be there. And if she would have bothered to ask why, I would have said, oh, because my mom said she would take me, and I want to make sure I can go with my mom. I wouldn't want to hurt my mom's feelings, because I was a kid, and I loved my mother back in the day. And this was one of the many days that kind of solidified why I'm 4 years estranged from my mother as an adult. Eventually, Crystal was like, oh, how about I take you to see your mom? How about I take you home? Or, like, and it was like, oh, wait, but your mom's not home, so let's take you where your mom is. And I was like, yeah, okay, sure. And I figured, I wasn't told anything, but guess what? Like, I guess, I'll put it this way. My mom was somewhere with my, older brother, who was like, what, fucking 10, 11, 12, something like that. And he was at some sort of, like, basketball practice area or whatever. And so Crystal saw nothing wrong with dropping me off to my mom. My mom saw an issue with it, and I remembered that it was just me sitting in this awkward, like, basketball gymnasium watching a bunch of kids throw balls around as my mom was seething fucking angry at me. And she would not stop being like, why the fuck wouldn't you go to G-Force? Huh? Crystal's gonna take you to go see G-Force. Why wouldn't you just go see G-Force? Now look at you. You have to sit here and watch people bounce balls around because you want it to be stupid and she just would not stop fucking insulting me endlessly. And then, of course, I remembered that I was gonna start crying because she was being a fucking abusive bitch, and that just made her get worse. And then it's like, and then she got really, 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 really terribly hostile. And I see why I repressed this memory, and I see why we no longer talk and haven't talked for 4 years. She's a fucking cunt. It was just so, it was so pathetic, so pathetic. Like, I'll put it, she was, and it made no reason for her to get angry. I guess she was just mad because she thought she would have, I don't, and actually, you know what, to this day I do not get why my mom was so mad. I have no absolutely idea, because I didn't demand Crystal take me to see my mother. I would have been fine staying at the festival. It's just like, it was cold and extremely early. It was like 8 a.m. Why? And it's like, but they were, anyway, severe miscommunication and Crystal being a stupid yellow belly bitch, whatever yellow belly means, but it seems like it's fitting in the moment. And then my mom being a terrible, abusive wreck. Like, she could have just asked a simple question of, hey, baby, you didn't want to stay at the festival? And I would have said, oh, I would have, but it was just cold and it didn't seem like like Crystal asked if I wanted to see you and da 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 da. I would have explained myself, but no, adults in my life got very used to not asking me questions and making demands. They didn't fully see me as a person, so a lot could really just be tied into adults did not care what I thought as a child, and I think that's very stupid. And yell first, ask questions later after you've already beaten the kid's ass. That was the way. But she could have just really asked, why didn't you want to see G-Force with Crystal, sweetie? And I would have said, oh, because you said you wanted to see it with me, so I didn't want to hurt your feelings by going with her. But in that instance, when she just would not stop shitting on me, shitting on me, shitting on me, it kind of made me think, okay, the taught child me, like, oh, I shouldn't rely on my mom for things, and I should not burden her. And then, funny enough, I remember eventually I got closer with my grandmother on my dad's side. Like, I met her and we started, like, hanging out and stuff more. And I remember at some point, she got me this really cute butterfly backpack. It was really, really adorable and sweet. It was a white backpack that had, like, pink and orange and gold little butterflies all over it. It was an absolutely gorgeous backpack. And I remember my mom used to get me a new backpack every school year. I have no idea why she did that. I think it was fucking stupid. But regardless, think it was like, it was either that same year or the next year. Either way, it was fucking dumb. I remember my mom, she tried to make me happy. She came home and she's like, surprise, baby! I got you a new backpack for school. And it was like this purple and gray metallic, like huge, kind of ugly, but still cute enough backpack. Like, I was happy. I thought it looked beautiful. But at the same time, I thought to myself, oh, I feel bad. She bought me a backpack. And I don't want to burden her. This'll make her happy to know that I already have one. So I said, oh, that's really nice, but it's okay. I already got a backpack from my grandma. And I showed her the backpack. And then you saw my mom physically go from ecstatic to impress my daughter to fuck my daughter. She's so ungrateful. What the fuck I try? And then she just Lily got angry. She got so angry. She just stormed out the room immediately. And then more abusive shit happened because my mom doesn't know how to deal with her emotions. But child me thought, what? It's like I thought I was doing her a favor by being like, oh, it's okay, I got one. You could save your money and I get to have a cool backpack. But thank you for thinking of me. But in her mindset, she saw it as my daughter fucking hates me and I'm always failing as a parent, and and then ironically failing as a parent through her reaction. And then it happened plenty of other times in life, and she became one of those adults where it's like, eventually, like, she struggled and stuff, but she eventually, like, she became the type of parent where it's like, if she thought she was gonna have to pay for something for you, she would lash out at you, but then if you told her that you were gonna pay for it herself, she then felt like a bad parent, and then got depressed and sad, and then got annoyed that she was sad, and then angry at you for making her sad, and then she'd lash out at you anyway. There was no winning with her. Like, I remember once I got home from school as a teenager and I said, oh, hey, I booked an appointment at this beauty college, by the way. They're going to give me a relaxer for a treatment. Just wanted to let you know so that you know where I am. gonna be this like Tuesday around like 4 p.m. And then she just immediately slams down the dishes that she's working on. And she's like, what the fuck? Like, she just immediately goes off into some, I don't have that type of money right now. Why would you do that? And I just said, hey, like, I think I just straight up said, calm down. I'm paying for it myself. And then she, like, and I knew calm down would have pissed her off more, but I still said it. And then she got angry, but she seethed in silence and just kind of huffed. And then it's like, yeah, it's like, it's like the irony of like, you knew that, like, you were gonna lash out at me if I asked for your help. But now that I have the $40 and some tax and change to do it myself, you want to get pissy my direction. Hmm. And it was just wild. It was just wild. But I'll put it this way, and I'll fight back my emotions about it. In fact, I'll say this story. I remember once, funny enough, this involves Crystal again. My mother was talking to Crystal, and I remember I was like 12 years old. I got my period like on the last week of school, and I was so happy. And I came home, and I was excited to tell my mom about the news. And I remember specifically that she was talking to Crystal. And I said, Mommy, I have news. Mommy, I have news. And she made me call her mommy because she would get mad at anything else. And I said, I have a news. And she'd be like, shh, I'm talking to Crystal. And I'd be like, oh, but it's really important. And I need help. And she was like, I'm talking right now. What the fuck? And then she got angry. And then I really tried. I thought she might hurt me again, but I tried. I said, it's really important. And then she just still turned around and said, I'm busy right now. Fuck. And then she went back to talking to Crystal. And I remember I was so upset at that. Not enough to cry, just kind of like, right, I forgot who you are. That's who you are. So, I just silently went into her bathroom. I took one of her pads. And then, and I thought she might get angry at me for taking these, but I guess she will just have to live with it. I knew how to put them in, so I just put it in my underwear and just fucking sat alone. You want to know what happened? Eventually, a lot of time passes. I hear the back door shut. She, with her hands on her hips, she storms my direction and she says, now tell me, what did you have to tell me that was so important? And I just calmly said, oh, I just wanted to tell you that my period started. But it's okay. I already handled it. And she got so embarrassed and she got speechless that she just immediately didn't know what to say. She felt like a bunch of different emotions at once. If I had to pinpoint how I read her face, her eyes got really wide and her lips got really just, she was like, fuck. It grosses me out or disturbs me when I see her face in mine, even when I record this video. But at least I can emulate her faces and how scary or weird she looked at times. She turned around and just stormed as quick as she could into her bedroom and slammed the door closed. And I didn't hear from her for a few hours. Eventually my sister got home from school, and I know that she felt comfortable venting to my sister, because of course you're gonna parentify your oldest fucking daughter, and I guess she just thought, okay, like, I think she just felt fucked up as a parent and confided in my sister about it. And she was a fucked up parent. She was a fucked up parent in a lot of ways, stupid bitch. But you know what? Like, then my sister gave me the rundown about that. And also about how, like, I think my mom was nicer towards my sister about it and felt bad that it's like, oh, why did Tamia get the fucked up experience? So I got the rundown of, like, how to change pads, how this works, how that works. And that was cool. But it's still one of those things where it's like, she never truly learned her lesson. She never truly did. She made it normal where I found out how to live a life without her. She normalized that, where it's like, if I had her around, my life would be worse. And it didn't get better. Told her about bullying, she would make it worse. Told her about revenge porn, she would make it worse. Told her about any romance ever, she would make it worse. And, like, anything, she would make it worse. Or she would, at absolute best, not do a single thing and not care. So, I learned from a very young age not to rely on her. And I learned how to be very independent. Being neglected also helped, but simply put, she normalized it. She normalized me deciding to just handle everything in life by myself. I relied on Google instead of her. I relied on random chat rooms for friendship and care because I wasn't getting that at home. I relied on a lot of things in a lot of places and things that I couldn't because she made it very clear that relying on her was not an option. Trusting her to deliver or to be safe to be around was not an option. And to be understanding, absolutely not. She made her bed, she gets to lie in it. She opened the cans of worms, she gets to choke that shit down. That's what she deserves. I feel like tossing in this story just for extra measure. I remember in middle school, my mom told me, and she kind of jinxed me with this. She said, "Oh, I have an important sports event to get to. So whatever you do, make sure you don't miss the bus back home." And I have never, ever, 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 ever missed the bus back home. So I thought to myself, oh, why would I ever miss the bus back home? You want to know what happened? Like, I remember specifically that for the sake of my progress report, I submitted a paper in to my history teacher that I almost forgot about, and I missed the bus by a single fucking 5 to 10 seconds. And so the bus drove off without me. And so, like, they had to call my mom. My mom picked me up, and I tried to apologize to her. It didn't change the fact that as soon as I got in the car, she punched the shit out of my arm 8 fucking times as hard as possible. And you know what happened after that? You know what? The punching I could get over, but the screaming she did was terrible. The tears flew out of my face, and it didn't stop there. She took me to the sports event with her, and I think she had to pay like an extra like couple bucks or something to take me with her there. She didn't truly have to. She could have dropped me off back at home. She could have had a friend or a neighbor pick me. There's a lot of options she could have done. This was before Uber though, but it's still just Jesus. Just stupid. You don't know what this stupid fucking whore did? It was raining at the sports event, and she was mad that I was there, and mad that I was crying, even though she made me cry because she punched me in the arm full force that you would punch a fucking linebacker fucking 8 times in a row, and then screamed her head off at me relentlessly. And then it was raining, and she made sure that everyone else got to sit under the umbrella but me. And if she saw me crying, then she literally took a fucking used snot tissue that was in her purse, and she aggressively, oh, I want to kill this bitch, and several other people do. She should never speak to me again. She pulled it out of her purse and she shoved it in my eye like this. And she had those stupid fucking long nails. I forget if they were press-ons or her real nails. Doesn't fucking matter either way. But imagine someone physically scratching and shoving, and she did it with the intent to hurt me. The intent to make me feel bad, while saying, shut the fuck up and wipe your fucking tears. And what was worse about it is that, funny enough, I had stopped crying. I was not a loud crier. It's like I was just silently sitting there. Like, you know, I'm not. Like, I cry as an adult how I cried as a kid. Quietly, without disturbing anybody. It's like, and also, you don't want to... Yeah. Sorry. Sorry. You know what makes it worse? When I was a kid, I mean, when I was like 19, 20, something like that, I met someone who had the same condition that I have, called overactive tear ducts, where even if you don't feel sad, tears will just keep rolling out of your eyes. For example, it just means someone has tear ducts that don't close even when they stop being sad. So you might see my eyes leaking water for like an extra 20, 30 minutes, even though I've stopped being sad like fucking 15 minutes ago. That's just how it happens. It's happening even now as we speak. But she punished me for it, and she did lots of abusive things for it. So I remember, and even then I wasn't crying, I wasn't sad. You even saw from my expression that I stopped being upset. That it's like, okay, the arm pain and the headache and the distress of her being a toxic cunt and leaving me to sit on a wet fucking bench without her letting me under the umbrella that everyone else got to sit under. I just was totally neutral and fine. And this whore went out of her way to hurt me more, so that then I started crying and sobbing. And then she started fucking getting more abusive and terrible. If my mom ever died, I'll put it this way. She put me in a lot of cold, terrible situations. It's very interesting to know that it's like you had a scrawny 12-year-old autistic daughter who felt bad about her actions and you left her to sit in the cold fucking rain and you caused her pain as you let yourself stay nice and warm under an umbrella. And just don't worry, mother. When you die, it's gonna be nice and warm where you fucking go. And you will be more than toasty there. And you're gonna feel all the hell that you brought to me, if not worse. I don't care about her. Or I'll put it this way. I've said it before. If my mother got attacked by wild dogs, I'd feel bad for the animals because no one should eat meat that toxic. If she got hit by a train, I'd feel really bad because it's like, people have places to go. They don't need the service getting stalled. The only time I ever felt bad for my mother was when I learned that she was getting cheated on by her husband. But even then, eh, I know how she is as a person. It's one of those things where it's like, nigga, just leave. Of all the people in this household, you have the ability to leave. So leave. But no, he stayed. And he wanted to cheat with girls around my age, and I was a teenager, so that was gross. Hmm. But yeah. And I'm glad that I got very used to learning how to live a life without my mother at all. People say I'm very strong. Sure, thank you. But like, I don't know. I'm not saying anything, I'm just saying it's very disappointing that she allowed herself to become who she became. And she's not the type of person who has a redemption arc. There were moments where she used to show little bits of care, but still, she dropped the ball. So even if I said something like, oh, I'm gonna get a bunch of laundry done so I can clean up my room, I'm gonna get a laundry pickup order, and it'll be a bit expensive, but I'm still gonna shell out money for it. She'd be like, oh, it's okay, I could just do your laundry for you, or hell, I'll pay for the pickup order. I said, are you sure? Like, you don't have to if you don't want to, and it's a lot of clothes, and it's like, it's pretty intense. I don't want to burden you with that. Like, and she was like, no, I got it. And then you want to guess what happened? She waited like a week or so not touching it remotely before she just entirely was like, yeah, I don't know why you thought I would do it. That's hella laundry. That is too expensive. I'm not doing it. And then just for me, just to see me like get it done myself and get angry. She was a weirdo. She got angry if I like, yeah, it's like damned if I do, damned if I don't. You don't want to feed me, and I feed myself through groceries. You get mad that I'm grocery shopping for myself. I DoorDash. You got your hands on your hips and you're glaring at me and talking shit as I pick up my fucking Chipotle or Popeyes or sushi or whatever. Even though it's not your fucking money. You wanna like she would just be a bitch. And it was just ridiculous. And all of it was stupid. And I'm just annoyed. She taught me from a young age not to rely on her, and I learned how to live without her. So it really was no wonder why it was so easy to not turn back. And so when she attacked me on a random day in like what, March, April, and she tried to claw my fucking eyes out, and you can still see the subtle scars up here and somewhere like right there, like that area. And she left my face bloody. I remember that she was genuinely shocked that it's like after like a month away from home, I wasn't fine with just moving back in. And she was angry and I didn't care. I got my friends, I got my shit, or at least what I could from my fucking old place, and then I moved on. And I learned how to live without her. I learned from a young age how to be like practically untraceable. I knew where to go that she wouldn't be. I knew who to talk to, who to meet, and I had the opportunities, and I had a great fucking life. And I still do, even at my absolute worst moments. I'm doing way better without her. And that feels good. She clawed my eyes out for the last fucking times. She yelled at me for the last fucking time. And the very last time I had ever seen her face to face was when she tried to stop me from getting my shit out of the place I legally lived in on that fucking. And I remember that as she and my stepdad were trying to shit on me, I thought to myself, wow, my stepdad's breath smells like shit. Wow, she looks not good. And I also thought to myself, like, it was something really freeing about how I was standing there holding a box of my items as they were talking down to me and trying to shit on me and make me out to be disrespectful, blah, blah, blah. And then I remembered to myself, wait a minute, I'm a legally grown adult and I don't live there anymore, and they aren't paying my bills, feeding me, none of that. If anything, I'm fine. They're subsidizing their lifestyle because they stole my disability checks to finance their own bullshit my whole life as I suffered. So you know what I did? I turned around, got in that fucking car, drove off as they were mid speaking. And that was the last time I saw them. I still remember how stupid my stepdad looked with his tangled fucking teeth turning yellow. And he had his hood up because he wanted to hide the receding hairline bullshit that he was getting insecure about. He was not the masculine man that he wanted to be perceived as. If he, like, not by a long shot, he wasn't. I forgot to mention he legally adopted every other sibling in my family, except for me. And I didn't feel anything about it because I remember that the summer before that was so traumatic due to him, my mom, and my siblings that I was entirely fine with the concept of, yeah, he was not a father. Not at all. He was a tormentor. He was a loser. He was a bitch ass nigga. It's like I would have been disgusted at the suggestion, and I'm just glad I wasn't put on the spot. I'm so happy about a lot of things in my life that led to me getting here. You know, the positive stuff, obviously. And I feel happy. Now I have a nice life. And funny enough, now I have an amazing summer in front of me. And an amazing life. And I'm feeling really, really blessed and grateful. And younger me who got beaten in the showers. Younger me who flinched whenever she heard her belt being taken on or taken off, even if it was just someone changing their clothes. Younger me, across all of those years, would be so happy to know I was left, that I left the place, and that I'm gone, and that I get to have a nice time. And so it makes me happy to know that the 5th grade version of myself that was crying about how I knew I needed to run away from home, or the version of myself in 6th grade when my mother first called me ugly, or the version of myself that was there during all the times my mom proved herself to be useless, when she brushed off bullying, when she insulted and mocked me and slut-shamed me when high school happened, like all the terrible shit. It makes me, like, I think all of them would just be so ecstatic, regardless of all the bad shit that has happened in my life. They would just be so fucking happy to know, oh wait, you're safe now? No more beatings, no more yelling, no more slamming doors. You could be happy, you could have sex, you could have dates. How's that? Like, you get to make friends, you get to do your artwork, no one's gonna judge you, you get to be happy. And I have a lovely, super happy life, and I'm so blessed to be alive. God bless me. I'm super happy. Amen. Thank you so much.